The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here, just past 5 a.m. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
All right, Kat, thanks so much. 6 people were killed and at least 12 others wounded in a mass shooting early yesterday morning in downtown Sacramento, and at least one Kern County resident was right in the middle of it. That local resident shot cell phone video of the devastating moments after gunfire erupted. We want to warn you, some of this video may be difficult to watch.
Come on, don't not go that way. Please, all those people are dead. No, I want to stop.
This was the scene at about 2 a.m. yesterday morning. That's when a gunman stole several lives with a hail of gunfire. A Kern resident in downtown Sacramento at the time for a concert sent us this video. We are not using her name because she's afraid for her safety. Meantime, the killer or killers remain at large. Law enforcement now calling on the public for information that could help police find them.
Police say multiple shooters fired at crowds leaving the bars and nightclubs on K Street in Sacramento yesterday morning. Officers say they're reviewing multiple pieces of video, including one showing what appears to be a fight before the shots were fired. It's unclear if the fight was related to the shooting. In Sacramento, Police Department held a news conference yesterday evening as they discussed the mass shooting.
The scale of violence that just happened in our city is unprecedented during my 27 years here at the Sacramento Police Department. We are shocked and heartbroken by this tragedy, but we are also resolved as an agency to find those responsible and to secure justice for the victims and their families. Investigators are working to identify those responsible for this horrific act. We know that a large fight took place just prior to the shootings, and we have confirmed that there are multiple shooters. Investigators are currently interviewing numerous witnesses. We have located hundreds of pieces of evidence at the scene. Every one of those we processed to help us learn more about this crime. And one of the items that we found was a stolen handgun. We also
Meantime, heartbroken community and political leaders are calling for action to prevent even more violence from happening in other communities around the state and country. Aton Wallace, a former 17 News reporter now in Sacramento, has more.
Our community deserves better than this.
In tears and in pain, Sacramento Councilmember Katie Valenzuela reacting to the tragedy that took place in the district she represents and calls home.
I'm heartbroken and I'm outraged. I'm outraged.
Heartbroken and outraged, she says, because of the massive loss of life and because of how the lives were taken through gun violence. She and other city leaders, including Mayor Darrell Steinberg, calling it a national epidemic.
The idea that people can have ready access to assault weapons, to weapons of destruction, and can indiscriminately use them however and wherever they want, that is not just an exception. It happens far too often. It is a sickness in our culture, and we must do everything we can to heal that sickness.
That, Steinberg says, includes stricter laws for certain types of guns and more funding for programs to help those who may be at risk of getting sucked into a life of crime at an early age.
We are spending more on youth, on gang intervention, on inclusion, on economic development than ever before. Now, is it enough? Absolutely not.
California's done more than most, and Sacramento has done more than most, and it is not enough. We're going to have to work together.
Work community leaders say is vital to prevent a future mass shooting.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I will travel anywhere I need to travel, and I will talk to whoever I need to talk to get these guns off these streets and to give our youth what they need so that they can be successful and that they don't get shot down on K Street when they're out trying to have a good time. Our community deserves better than this. I know this is a national epidemic. This is not unique to Sacramento. but we can stop it here. We can stop it here.
Aton Wallace reporting.
And the Sacramento Kings honored the victims of Saturday's shooting before their home game last night. The team held a moment of silence before tip-off at the Golden One Center near the site of Saturday's violence.
Meanwhile, at least 3 people are in police custody following a shooting at a Belmont Park in Mission Beach last night. 3 people were detained following the incident, and police recovered a gun in the area. According to San Diego police, no injuries have been reported. An investigation is underway. And around the nation, 1 person was killed and 11 others were hurt during a shooting at an outdoor concert in Dallas yesterday morning. The person killed was found near the concert stage. The 11 others were taken to the hospital. No arrests have been made.
Meantime, back here at home, a 9-year-old boy remains missing this morning in river waters in Keysville. Kern County search and rescue teams were called to the Hogeye Gulch area in Keysville around 2:30 Saturday afternoon. It's unclear how the boy went into the water. KCSO search and rescue teams teamed up with Kern County Fire Department helicopter for the rescue efforts, and they'll begin again this morning. The sheriff's office says another person needed to be rescued after they jumped in the water after the boy. And we'll update the story as soon as we learn more.
A man accused of killing another in Oildale over the weekend is behind bars this morning. The shooting happened on Minner Avenue around 4 a.m. after several people reported hearing gunshots. When deputies arrived, they say they found a man dead in front of a home. Police arrested 38-year-old Jarrett Perrette in connection to the shooting. Perrette was still at the scene at the time. The man killed has not been identified.
A teenager was shot and killed Saturday afternoon in East Bakersfield. Police say the body was found on Flower Street near the intersection with Brown Street. It's a continuation of the cycle of violence in Kern. 17 News data shows at least 26 people have lost their lives to violence in Kern County so far this year. This comes after Kern County saw 137 homicides in 2021. That's just 3 short of 2020's all-time high of 140. Bakersfield Police Sergeant Robert Payer estimates there are only 16 homicide detectives in the Bakersfield Police Department. Police have responded to 12 homicides within city limits so far in 2022.
9 have resulted in arrests. What that means, though, ultimately is that significant resources are devoted to the investigation of those.
Police say as many as half of local homicides come from gang violence. The one silver lining, we're falling behind last year's homicide rate. By this time in 2021, we saw 29 murders. That's 3 more than we've seen this year. Stay Focused Ministries is planning an outreach event to curb violence at the end of the month. We have more information on our website, kget.com. In the meantime, we continue to share the stories of people who've lost their lives to violence. You can find our homicide tracker on our website, kget.com.
Opening statements in the trial of 45-year-old Matthew Queen, charged with murder, torture, and dozens of other offenses in what's become known as the Bakersfield 3 case, will begin today. The trial is expected to last about 45 days. Queen and his ex-girlfriend, Bailey Despot, are accused of torturing and killing Micah Holsonbake in 2018. Holsonbake's severed arm was found in the Kern River, and his skull was recovered last year east of the overflow parking lot of Piles Boys Camp. Prosecutors say Queen and Holsonbake assembled and sold illegal AR-15 style rifles. Despot is also charged, but has been missing since 2018. Holsonbake and Despot are members of the Bakersfield 3 acquaintances who were killed or went missing within 2 months of each other in 2018. James Kolstad, the third person, was shot and killed in southwest Bakersfield in April 2018. No one has been arrested for killing Kolstad.
And now to issues we take very seriously here at Circle 17, pedestrian safety. A pedestrian was seriously hurt following a hit-and-run crash last night in Oildale. According to California Highway Patrol's traffic incident information page, the crash was reported just after 10:30 on North Chester Avenue and Harding Avenue. One person was hit by a driver who left the scene. The pedestrian was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Meantime, one person is dead after a hit-and-run crash in McFarland over the weekend. Emergency crews were called to Sherwood Avenue, just west of Garzoli Avenue, just before 11 o'clock on Saturday night. The CHP says a 17-year-old was heading west on Sherwood Avenue at approximately 50 to 55 miles per hour when a 29-year-old man walked into the westbound lane and was hit. The pedestrian died. The 17-year-old driver initially fled the scene, but then later returned. The use of drugs and alcohol as a factor to this crash is still under investigation.
Education news now. The Kern High School District's launching a formal investigation after a Centennial High School teacher was accused of using racial slurs toward a student. The Bakersfield chapter of the NAACP claims the Centennial High teacher used the N-word in reference to a student. The NAACP says the teacher then used the N-word a second time. The organization claims the brother of the insulted student confronted the teacher. The brother was then suspended for using profanity. The Post goes on to say the mother of the students filed a complaint with the district after the administration failed to act. We reached out to KHSD for comment. Officials say they are aware of the accusations and have launched a formal investigation.
Experts are watching for a spike in flu and COVID-19 cases after spring break as travel picks up across the nation. The difference this year, compared to the two other pandemic spring breaks, is that there are more tools available to fight COVID-19, mainly vaccines. Health experts at UC San Francisco say the good news for this year is the Omicron wave has really crashed out. The bad news is we are now looking at the new variant, BA2, which has roughly doubled each week from mid-February through mid-March. Now let's take a look at the latest coronavirus case numbers in Kern County. Public health officials on Friday reported 13 new COVID-related deaths, along with 113 new cases. A reminder, public health only announcing new data on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so this takes into account 2 days worth of data. State health officials, meantime, report 26 people in the hospital with the virus in Kern. 8 more people are in the ICU. New numbers will be released later this morning.
And making news around town, it was a cultural celebration on the streets of Bakersfield. Members of the local Sikh community with deep roots in northwestern India held a parade yesterday in southwest Bakersfield. 17's Marco Torres reports.
The event had thousands of people from all across California attend. Now, the Sikh community did open the event for everyone to join. The celebration is called Vaisakhi. Vaisakhi is normally celebrated on the 13th of April, but the Bakersfield Sikh community celebrated it a week early. This day is special because it marks the Sikhs' New Year.
This is the tradition started by our gurus from many years ago. So from that day until today, it's like going.
Events like this one bring up to 25,000 people out to celebrate. The crowds of people all celebrating by eating, mingling, shopping, and praying before the start of the parade. All the food at the event was free and it was open to the public.
I feel very amazing. I look so much people here. I really enjoying, and I'm happy they are all just like attending this festival.
As the parade kicked off, thousands of people joined it as it moved throughout the area near the temple. It's estimated 30 to 40,000 Sikhs live in Kern County, most of them all living in southwest Bakersfield. Now, attendees say the event is a reminder for the community to help one another and to do what they can for each other.
This is a message to our community: get all together, help each other, stay humble, stay warm. I mean, as much you can do best for other person.
The Bakersfield Sikh community hosts public events throughout the entire year. You can be sure to be updated on our website at kgt.com for these upcoming events. In southwest Bakersfield, Marco Torres, 17 News.
Meantime, the Bakersfield Calvary Chapel hosted its annual fundraiser over the weekend. People from across Bakersfield came out to snag a deal and support the local church. It's a yard sale to boost funds to support one of its ministries. This year, the funds are going to the sewing ministry.
We will make blankets, lap blankets for our vets, for Bakersfield Pregnancy Center, for the homeless, and for people going through chemotherapy and different treatments.
In previous years, thousands of dollars were raised. This year, the hope is to raise just as much. The remaining items will all go to Habitat for Humanity and Goodwill.
KGET continues our partnership with Guarantee Shoe Center for the 30th annual Shoes for Our Homeless Shoe Drive. The drive benefiting the men, women, and children at the Bakersfield Homeless Center runs through April 10th. You can drop off usable shoes at the Guarantee Shoe Center on Chester Avenue or here at our studios at the corner of 21st and L Streets.
Oh man, it's been beautiful. We've got about probably in these last few days, probably about 300 pair of shoes a day. Hey, you should bring them down. Kind of do a little spring cleaning, clean out your closet or whatever, your garage. Bring them down. It's going to really help somebody.
Over the past 30 years, the center says they've donated 91,000 pairs of shoes, so still time for you to help out.
Foothill High School held its first Hall of Fame ceremony in 2 years on Saturday, and one of the honorees, a Bakersfield native with a magic touch. Benjamin Victor graduated from Foothill in 1997 and played on the basketball team, later becoming a world-renowned sculptor.
Just enjoying the time with friends and family and being inducted to my high school Hall of Fame. What a great place. Good to be back home.
Victor says he lives in Boise, Idaho now, but he grew up in Bakersfield. He is reportedly the only living artist to have 3 works in Statuary Hall in the U.S. Capitol.
Pretty incredible. Well, Friday was a night to shine for 6 young ladies competing in Distinguished Young Women of Shafter. Distinguished Young Women is part of a national scholarship program for high school juniors where they can win thousands of dollars toward higher education. Organizers say the program promotes and rewards leadership and talent in young women. The girls compete in 5 categories: fitness, scholastics, interview, talent, and self-expression. The event was held at the Ford Theater in Shafter. And the winner, Faith Basaldua, will compete this summer in the state program representing Shafter. So congratulations to all the young ladies who competed Friday.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.